What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I basically covered this topic, but I have to kind of go over it again. Um, as expected, Freddie Roach has come out the woodworks. He finally has a fighter who won, and that was Miguel Cotto. In an awesome performance by Cotto, by the way. Um, he's now went on record as saying that if he was in Cotto's corner last May when he fought Floyd Mayweather Jr., that Cotto would have beat Mayweather. Um, Let me just break it down to you guys for those of you guys that don't necessarily know the sport of boxing. First of all, I can't say what would have happened if an imaginary situation that didn't happen happened. So I can't say, oh, Cotto definitely would have lost still if Roach was in his corner or not. However, some of you guys take these hypothetical scenarios that can't happen, that won't happen. The past is the past. It's already written in stone. There's already video surrounding it. And you run with what would have happened. I don't like to do that, man. Like, because at the end of the day, I could think of a million scenarios of what would have happened. Let's say Pacquiao didn't get knocked out in the sixth round. Yeah, maybe he stopped Marquez, even though he's never stopped him before. But who knows? Maybe there was a clash of heads and the fight was stopped. Like, there's a million and one different scenarios that could have happened. So it's funny when these trainers and promoters and fighters and everybody just talks about what would have happened. Now, the thing with Mayweather is these fighters are always left with, oh, I want a rematch and I want to do this. And like, they don't do it the first time. You had your shot, you had your opportunity, and you didn't capitalize. Fuck that. Fuck anything else you want to say, but you have your moment. Canelo had his moment. Robert Guerrero had his moment. Miguel Cotto had his moment, etc. And the list goes on and on and on. So it is your job, for whatever reason, if you felt that Pedro Diaz wasn't sufficient enough as a trainer, then you should have went to Freddie Roach. If you got away from going to the body like you've done in previous years, then that's your fault. It's your trainer's fault, your fault. I mean, at the end of the day, your trainer is only going to give you the tools they think you need to beat the opponent in front of you. But we all know there's been several fighters who haven't listened to their trainer in certain fights. Timothy Bradley being one example that comes to mind. In the Ruslan Provatnikov fight, Timothy Bradley could have made that fight 10 times more easy for himself, not been wobbled and hurt and messed up his speech for 2 months after the fight, had he listened to Joel Diaz. Because Diaz was giving him the keys to victory. He was telling him exactly what he needed to do. Bradley wasn't listening. So, regardless of the trainer, some people, you guys get trainer happy. Freddie Roach and Cotto, that partnership looked good. I take nothing away from either of those two people. However, they look good against Delvin Rodriguez. Look who they, I mean, you act like Delvin Rodriguez was this killer, like he hadn't had 6 losses at the time Cotto fought. Cotto did exactly what he was supposed to do, given the opponent he was supposed to do it to. You could say that Cotto exceeded your expectations because some people were saying Cotto was damaged goods, but check my videos. I never said that. I never said Cotto is a bum or slouch, he's washed up, or he's damaged goods. You can check any video with the title Cotto in it, and you will not find me saying that. And if you do, please reference the video and the time. I specifically said in the prediction video, I believe, for Delvin Rodriguez, a lot of you guys are giving Cotto no credit. So this is not about my hatred for Cotto or I love Mayweather or some of the gay shit y'all talk about. This is simply being a realist. And the fact of the matter is, you can't go back in time and assess what would have happened in a hypothetical scenario. Like, that's like me saying Mike Tyson would have killed Muhammad Ali, vice versa. Muhammad Ali would have murdered Tyson. At the end of the day, no one fucking knows because it didn't happen and it can't happen. So that's my point with Freddie Roach. I think over the years he's become more and more of a promoter and less of a trainer. Not taking away from his Hall of Fame status and the work he's done with his fighters, but he tends to talk a lot, and he talks a lot to the point where I could show you countless videos on YouTube where he was wrong, where he got it wrong. Pacquiao Marquez 4. Pre-fight, what did he say? oh, Pacquiao was gonna knock Marquez out in this. No, actually, this is the third fight. In the third fight, he said Pacquiao was gonna knock Marquez out within 6 rounds. He says, "Oh, we've improved his right hand. This is gonna happen, and Marquez will get knocked out in the 6th round." Now, the third fight was the fight where Pacquiao looked the worst out of all of the 4 fights. To me, Pacquiao didn't really have Marquez hurt like he did in the first 2 fights or even in the fourth fight. So, out of all the fights he could have made that prediction, the third fight was perhaps the worst because that's the fight where I thought Marquez convincingly won. He didn't get knocked down in that fight. He had been knocked down in all the 3 other fights, not in that fight. So it's just funny to hear some of the stuff come out of Freddie Roach's mouth, like, "Oh, we would have beat Mayweather." You already know that there's a promotional dispute between the two companies, so who knows if that fight will happen now that Cotto is under the top ranked banner and finishing his career with that. Um, so it's just funny to hear these these promoters and fighters talk about all this shit that may or may never happen, depending on if Bob Arum, Golden Boy, Floyd Mayweather, and all them can get together and negotiate like adults and actually make this fight happen. As far as Cotto, like I said, not taking anything away from his performance, it was spectacular, but it was against Delvin Rodriguez, and that's the fact of the matter. So to me, I got to see more. Beating Delvin Rodriguez is a confidence booster. It should get you back on track. It shows that you still have certain intangibles that you had earlier in your career, power, the body shots, the relentless style, very sharp, keen boxing senses. That's great. I don't dispute any of that. However, it was Delvin fucking Rodriguez. Like, and I'm not trying to shit on Delvin Rodriguez, but out of the people that they're linking to Cotto, Sergio Martinez, Floyd Mayweather rematch, Canelo, I don't think any of them dudes are going to fight in the same fight or style that Delvin Rodriguez did. I don't know, out of all 3 of those fighters, I don't see either of those being as easy as it looked for Cotto to destroy Delvin Rodriguez. They're not going to let you just abuse his body. Like, first of all, as far as Mayweather's concerned, he has one of the most impeccable defenses in probably all of boxing history. So I have a hard time believing that he's going to let you punish his body the way you did Delvin Rodriguez. He usually protects his body very well, which is something people underrate him for. Plus, he's able to move and he's a thinker. Delvin Rodriguez said himself in an interview post-fight that I got too relaxed. He said, at first I didn't feel Cotto's power, so I got too relaxed, and then he hit me, and I was like, oh, he can hit. Like, what the fuck? Like, what'd you expect? You think he just has the KO percentage that he has, and he's done the damage he's done to fighters throughout his career by not being able to hit? So, again, that lets me know what level Delvin Rodriguez is on mentally. Like, you weren't even mentally prepared. Like, who? It just blows my mind. Like, why would you underestimate a Cotto, someone with a stellar resume, and get too relaxed, as he says? Like, what the fuck are you going to get too relaxed for? You're in there with someone who's proven that they're a killer throughout their career. I don't see, like I said, I don't see why you would get too relaxed. Again, don't think them dudes are going to just allow Cotto. I think they're tough, winnable fights, but damn sure not going to be in the Delvin Rodriguez vein where he's just going to go in there like a fucking mad dog and just bulldoze through them. I don't like Canelo's big as fuck. I just don't see it. Sergio's a southpaw and he's crafty. I don't see Cotto just walking him down, because at the end of the day, Cotto's going to have to worry about shots coming back. Mayweather with the counters, the accurate counters. He's going to have to worry about Canelo's heavy hands. And Canelo has boxing skills from what he shows, and he's big as fuck. So he's not going to just walk in and not be cautious of the incoming, excuse me. Same thing with Sergio Martinez, very crafty. In the past, he's given us angles, that kind of stuff. So these are great fights. I would personally rather see the Sergio or Canelo fight. I think Mayweather will be more of the same. Like I said, Mayweather just went in there against Canelo, who was bigger than Cotto, and made it look like easy work. So fuck what Freddie Roach is saying. I just don't see Miguel Cotto doing anything drastically different than what he already did. Plus, he didn't show that he has stamina because the fight ended so quickly. So again, I think Freddie Roach is talking out his ass. I think he even said Robert Guerrero was going to knock Mayweather out. He calls Mayweather boring. So obviously he's impartial, especially with the Pacquiao fight falling through and not going forth. So I don't expect him to say anything great. All of Roach's comments to Mayweather and about Mayweather are kind of like half-ass comments, if you will, or compliments. It'll be like, yeah, Mayweather's good, but not the best. Like, it's just crazy shit. Like, it's not like damn, Mayweather looked good in that fight. He was like, yeah, he did what he had to do, but Canelo was young, and it was boring. I fell asleep. Like, he's not going to give full credit. But as far as Cotto, I wish him the best. I'm definitely going to tune into his next fight. But you got to keep in mind who he fucking fought. Like, some of you guys are going off the deep end. Like, oh, man, Cotto, if this Cotto would have showed up, man, this is a different Cotto. Like, this is the same fucking Cotto. He paid more attention to the body work in his offense. I will give him that. But, again, going against those 3 opponents that he's being linked to, he's going to have to pay attention to more than his offense. And Cotto actually has an underrated defense. A lot of people don't take that into consideration, but he definitely has a defense. He didn't really use much of it because he didn't have to against Delvin Rodriguez. And again, styles make fights, so you got to keep that in mind and be realistic. I think at the sport of boxing, one of the things that makes it tricky for fans is that we don't have in the sport of boxing, there's no matrix and schedule where, like, I'm a Niners fan. So at the end of the day, I know week 1, week 2, week 3, I know when we have a bye week. I know the Niners schedule. I know where we're going to be playing, what we're up against, etc. Sport of boxing, not the same. You don't even know the opponent's next challenge until it happens. Like, who's Abner Mars going to fight after a knockout loss? We don't know because it hasn't been revealed yet. When's Victor Ortiz coming back? We don't know because it hasn't been announced yet. Is Adrian Broner and Maidana definitely fighting? We don't know because it hasn't been announced. So my point being, in the sport of boxing, there's no set schedule where these teams are matched up and you could just look at it in advance. So we don't really know who these fighters will be fighting next. So I think some people get super ecstatic, like, oh, Cotto, he just ran through Delvin Rodriguez, and they don't take into consideration, they don't know his next opponent, they don't know the direction of it, and it's one fight. One fight is not all that telling. Like, I've seen fighters look great in one fight. I mean, look at Chavez Jr. And I know this is a kind of like a catch-22 type of example, but Chavez Jr. against Sergio Martinez, he had that triumphant moment, but before that, he looked great against Andy Lee. He looked probably like one of the best I've seen him in recent memory. And then he had that moment with Sergio Martinez in the 12th round where he showed his power and whatnot. And even in the Sergio fight, he didn't look as bad as he looked in the Brian Vera fight. So from fight to fight to fight with different styles and different matchups, you might have a completely different fighter. Like I said, I just named Chavez Jr.'s last 3 fights, and he went from looking spectacular against Andy Lee and stopping him to getting outboxed, outworked, out everything against Sergio Martinez and looking horrible, almost having a rocky moment in the 12th round, to looking like a counter puncher and barely throwing any punches, looking very fatigued early. So, you know what I mean? Anything can happen in the sport of boxing. But it's just funny to me. It's hilarious that Freddie Roach and some of these fans are coming out of the woodwork about Cotto did this and it's a different Cotto, and it's one fight. Yo, it's one fight. Listen to that. Like, it's one fight, and it was a one fight he was expected to win. And it's funny to me because some of you guys don't give credit to people like Danny Garcia, who is beating fighters he's supposed to lose to. Lucas Matisse was supposed to knock his block off, and he beat him convincingly. Amir Khan had all the tools to beat him. More championship level experience. He had the speed, the reach, and Danny Garcia beat him. You can go down the list with, I think Kendall Holt at the time was supposed to beat Danny Garcia. And Eric Morales in the first fight was supposed to beat him. And some of you guys don't give him any credit. Yet, Miguel Cotto runs through a person that he should run through that has 6 losses, and now he's ready for Sergio Martinez and Canelo and a Mayweather rematch. He'll kill Mayweather, and Roach is saying shit. Like, come on, man. You guys sound ridiculous. And it's just, like I said, it's just funny to me how some of the boxing fans are fickle, and how some of you guys work as far as that. Like I said, I'm not shitting on Cotto. I'm not taking anything away from him. There's plenty of people that he can beat, but I wouldn't jump into the deep end and saying he's gonna kill Canelo or Mayweather or Sergio Martinez. I think those are all tough fights for him, and how he looked against Delvin Rodriguez is not indicative of how he's gonna look in those fights, because none of those fighters fight like Delvin Rodriguez or fight with the same mentality, mindset, same punching power. So every fight is unique, and that's the whole point. And I guess the last point is hilarious to me, that when Mayweather beat Cotto convincingly, you guys were like, "Oh, it's because after the Margarito fight, Cotto's been damaged goods. He's just never been the same. The loaded gloves, it's not the same Cotto." And he wasn't the same Cotto. He was damaged goods. Mayweather beat a washed up version of Cotto. Then Cotto lost again for the second time in a row to Austin Trout. Man, Austin Trout beat him. He didn't beat Prime Cotto because Cotto's washed up now. Now he runs through Delvin Rodriguez in 3 rounds, and it's automatically the resurgence of Cotto, and he's no longer damaged goods. Like, some of you guys were the same motherfuckers that were saying Cotto is damaged goods. Now all of a sudden, Cotto's the truth again. This is the old Cotto. He's no longer damaged goods. He's back for good. Like, y'all are crazy, man. That's all I gotta say. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.